On tonight's Gwinnett Prep Rally, the region basketball tournaments tip off next week, and GPR is getting you ready with a breakdown of the top contenders. In Region 7, the Norcross boys and girls sit on top of the standings, but several teams look poised to pull an upset over the defending state champions. The Parkview girls have been unbeatable this season, but will their perfect form survive the challenges from Region 8 counterparts? On the boys' side, Berkmar and Shiloh have been duking it out for the top spot all season long, while Archer waits in the wings to pull another tournament shocker. In Class A and AA, it's the usual suspects leading the way with no thoughts of slowing down. Gwinnett Prep Rally is the #1 place to get your basketball tournament fix, and it starts right now.
For more than 15 years, your source for Gwinnett County sports is Gwinnett Prep Rally.
Hello again and welcome to your county's original high school sports television program. This is Gwinnett Prep Rally, now in its 19th season, and we can be seen right here on GCPS TV for the entire 2011-2012 school year. I'm Todd Klein alongside Will Hammock from the Gwinnett Daily Post. And Will, the basketball regular season wraps up next week, and there are several teams around the county that look to be big-time state title contenders.
I think it's no surprise in the lower classifications. Gwinnett's really done well in AA and A over the past few seasons. I think that's going to continue. I think the big question is going to be at the 5A level, which teams can push through and make a run for state championships. Can the Norcross girls repeat? Can the Norcross boys make another run at it? And I think North Gwinnett girls are pretty good, and then you talk about the Parkview girls, they're still undefeated and rolling along. So a lot of good teams.
Well, like we said, the region tournaments get started next week, so let's take a look at some of the teams that are contenders for the Region 7 Girls Championship. Brought to you by Breda Pest Management, and we begin with the Norcross Lady Blue Devils.
Yeah, Norcross girls really starts with that girl right there, Diamond DeShields, and unfortunately she's been out a little bit. She fractured her wrist there in a battle they had with North Gwinnett. She was kind of banged up, so if they can get her back for the stretch run, they're going to be contenders. They're going to play with anybody in the state. They're doing well without her just because they are so deep. They have a lot of size on that basketball team, which helps them a lot, and they play strong on defense.
And then, as you mentioned, North Gwinnett also very stout in this region.
Yeah, also another team that's kind of had some adversity here late in the season. Lexi Brown, their best player by far, she had mono and missed some time, and she came back. Obviously, it's going to take her a little bit to come back from mono, get her strength back, but I think she's right up there with Diamond DeShields, Kayla Davis being one of the best players in Gwinnett County. She can take over a game.
Another team playing very well in this region, Will, is Mill Creek.
And I think what makes them so dangerous is that they're a really great three-point shooting team. They don't live and die by it all the time, but when they get hot, they can play with anybody from three-point range. And I got to see a game where they hit 13 threes earlier this season. They really shoot the three ball well, and they're always going to play great defense under Coach Ashley Phillips. So I expect them to be a tough game for anybody down the stretch.
Well, this is a tough region, so sometimes it's a little easy to get overlooked, but Peachtree Ridge has had a pretty solid season as well.
Yeah, I talked about them earlier in the season, just about how they might be the #2 team if they were in Region 8. They're a very good basketball team. Well, got a lot of young talent on this team. I really like what they've got inside and out. They can shoot the three. They play good defense, and I think this is a team that could really be a contender down the stretch in that region.
And then talk a little bit about Duluth and the way Duluth can figure into the region tournament.
There's a lot of experience on this team. They do a great job over there. Coach Pittman's an excellent basketball coach, and he's really got them playing well. He's got a great post in Katie Powell on the inside. I think she brings a lot to the table. She's tough to stop. And if they're hitting their three-pointers too, also like Mill Creek, they're very tough to beat with that inside-outside punch.
And Will, you talked about those injuries that Norcross and North Gwinnett have had this year, but really record-wise hasn't slowed them down at all. Is it they going to be even stronger for the state tournament run, or are these injuries going to take a little bit of time to come back from?
I think Diamond DeShields' injury is just the wrist injury. It's not her shooting hand. I think she'll be fine when she comes back strong. She'll be stronger than ever, I expect. And Lexi Brown, that mono is very tough to overcome, so it's just a matter of how quickly she can bounce back from that, get her strength and stamina back. But both those players obviously play a huge role. If they don't have them on either of those teams, they're going to be in trouble in the state tournament.
We talked about how those two teams are kind of very, very top-notch teams. In your opinion, who is the #3 team in this region? Is it for certain Mill Creek?
I think it comes down to Peachtree Ridge or Mill Creek. They've split. Mill Creek got really hot from three-point range to beat them the first time, and then a great effort by Peachtree Ridge to win the second time. So I think it's a toss-up between those two teams. I like them both. I think they both play a great basketball. It's just going to come down to who's hot offensively on that night.
Well, the defending state champions may compete in Region 7, but the only undefeated squad in the county is at the top of Region 8, and that is, of course, the Parkview Lady Panthers. Special thanks to Nextar.
23-0 overall, 14-0 in the region. The Parkview girls are just been dominant. I mean, nobody's been able to touch them in this region. It's not overly surprising. They're a very talented basketball team. The #2, they're really a contender with them the past few seasons has been Brookwood. Brookwood lost a lot at graduation, and Parkview did not. Coach Tony Watkins doing a great job in his first year over there.
And then you talked about Brookwood losing a lot to graduation. It's hurt them maybe with their overall record. In the region, though, they've been pretty solid.
Yeah, getting the job done. They lost to South earlier. That was kind of a surprise, but Brookwood's got a lot of talent. Rebecca Walker's a good player. Courtney Gardner's a very good offensive player. Those two really have to lead the way and carry this team on both ends of the floor, and they have so far this season in the region. They're doing very well. I think they're the #2 seed.
And then you mentioned South Gwinnett upsetting Brookwood. South Gwinnett's having a very nice season.
Yeah, a lot of people have been impressed with what Jamie Krupp has done over there with this group. They played well the last couple of seasons and really been coming on. They lost a lot to graduation off last year's team, several college-bound players that people thought they'd really missed, but they clicked right along, 14-8 overall, 9-4 in the region, and like I said, they've already beat Brookwood.
Let's talk a little bit about Central Gwinnett and how you expect them to compete in the region tournament.
Yeah, it's a team that doesn't have a lot going offensively. They really struggle to score at times. They ask Tasia Lattimore to do a lot, but overall they're a very good defensive team, and that's going to keep them in any game. They had a nice run at the North Gwinnett Holiday Tournament over Christmas, and they've kind of kept it going. They can battle with anybody in the region just because they're so strong on defense.
And then let's finish up with Berkmar and kind of what their high points have been during the region season.
They've been up and down too offensively. They maybe have some trouble scoring, but they're willing to get after it defensively, and they shoot the 3-ball well at times. When they've been able to shoot the 3, they've really been able to hang into games with some tough teams, but they're really going to have to turn it on down the stretch if they want to repeat another state tournament berth like they've had.
And Will, we talked about in Region 7, you kind of have Norcross and North Gwinnett pushing each other. In this region, it's Parkview head and shoulders above the rest. Is Parkview that good, or is the region down?
I think it's a matter of the region being down. I mean, I think Parkview's a very good team, but if they were in Region 7, they'd be fighting tooth and nail with the top teams over there. Definitely it's a step below the rest of the teams in this region. I think Parkview's really going to be tested in the state tournament. The Region 8 champ hasn't done well on the girls' side in the state tournament these last few years, whether it was Parkview 2 years ago, Brookwood last year. So really Parkview's got to change that luck when the state tournament comes around.
And then let's talk about who you think maybe is the team that can be behind Parkview and maybe make a run to maybe a #2 seed in this region.
Yeah, I think Brookwood's probably the favorite to do that right now. South Gwinnett's definitely a team that's going to push Brookwood for that. They're a very talented team, get after it defensively. But Brookwood, I think, has the more proven offensive players. South that struggles to score at times. And Rebecca Walker and Courtney Garner, that's two proven players for Brookwood, and I think those girls will get it done.
Time now to turn our attention to the boys basketball teams around the county, and we start with Region 7. It's brought to you by Britt's Home Furnishing, and the first team up is the Norcross Blue Devils, who are looking to repeat as state champions.
Yeah, they're defending state champs. They have a lot going for them. They've definitely got a big transfer in Harold Gibbons. He's an excellent player. Losing Chris Bolden really took them down a notch this season. They would have been right up there again with the state's best teams, but with him transferring to North, they kind of slowed Norcross down, but Norcross still going to play great on defense. Still got a lot going for them, like I said, and I look for them to make a good run.
It's very similar to the girls' side. It's Norcross and North Gwinnett that look like maybe two of the top teams.
Yeah, North Gwinnett had some good experience coming back already, but getting Chris Bolden, they got a lot of young talent too, but getting Chris Bolden into that lineup really gives them a marquee scorer, a go-to player to go with A.J. Clements, who does a great job, and Kwesi Ibaka's coming back on the inside, so that's a good role for him.
And then we talk about Mill Creek. I know that you've been real high on the Hawks this year.
Yeah, they're a very fit team. I think that's what stands out to me, that they're going to run up and down the floor and they're going to get after it defensively. I mean, all day long they're just going to keep running kids out there who play hard and play hard on defense, and I think they really thrive on that defense. Their guard play is exceptional. They have three really very good guards, and in the interior they got some posts that can get it done.
Then we talk a little bit about Peachtree Ridge, a very proud basketball program, and we're talking about a region that's very competitive, but this Peachtree Ridge team is always a tough out.
Oh, definitely. They're a very good team. I think you're looking at definitely a state tournament team with that group. They can get it done in a lot of ways. And I think really an overlooked team. They played a lot of this season without 6'5" Jordan Capps, who's a very talented transfer from Meadow Creek, who's going to help them out. He's really given them a boost since he returned.
And then finally, let's talk a little bit about Collins Hill and whether they can maybe be a surprise team in the region tournament.
I've been impressed with the way they played. They got off to a slow start, but lately they've been playing great. Ever since the Christmas holiday break, they've been doing great. And really, I think they lost everything on this team, so it's been surprising to a lot of folks that this group's been able to do anything. But obviously, they have 4 region wins already and some quality region wins so far.
Well, Will, you think if you look at the top of this region, it's kind of stacked with 3 teams that seem to be fairly equal. If you had to make a bet, who would be the team out of this group that maybe will go farthest in the state tournament?
I think maybe it's North Gwinnett, just because they have that go-to marquee scorer and Chris Bolden, a guy that's been there. He obviously made the clutch plays down the stretch to win that state championship for Norcross last year. A proven scorer, and when he gets hot, they can play with anybody. He can certainly shoot a team to victory, and if he does that in the playoffs and get hot, I think that could be a great run for North.
And Norcross, I know a lot of people around the state are going to expect a lot out of that team. They're obviously have bragging rights around the state. How do you see Norcross doing in the state tournament?
Well, this last season at this time is really when they started picking up steam and playing great basketball. If they can do that again in the region tournament, which wouldn't surprise me at all, I think Norcross could be a team to reckon with. They're obviously always going to play great defense with Coach McMillan and Harold Gibbons. If he can get his offense going, I look for this team to go a long way.
Well, if the regular season is any indication, the Region 8 Boys Tournament appears to be a three-horse race, and we start off with the Berkmar Patriots.
A lot of experience coming back from this team, and really at the guard spot. Yanel Brown's a reigning region player of the year. He's a guy that's very talented. Brandon Thompson, also a proven scorer. I really like that. And then they have Tim Rowe inside. He's really the only size they have on this basketball team. So he's going to have to play big in the postseason for them to do a lot. But those guards can really get it done, and they're very smooth and can really lead this team a long way.
And then we talk about Shiloh, been a very, very talented team all season long.
Yeah, really as big a team as you're going to see at the high school level. I think that's why they've been doing so well this season. Robert Carter going to Georgia Tech, a 6'9" transfer from Thomasville, is very good. 7-foot Trayvon Reed, a sophomore, maybe even taller than 7 foot. So this is a team that can really get it done with their height inside, and it's really going to be a lot to deal with when you're talking about postseason.
And then Archer's really been a player on this scene this year, Will.
Yeah, Archer played great, and I really think that started last year. They made that surprising run in the playoffs. Certainly no surprises out of this group this year. They're really getting it done and really have shocked some people so far in the region. I've been impressed with what they've been able to do, and they really get after it defensively. Their defense has picked up as the season's gone along, and I think it's going to take them a long way in the playoffs.
And let's talk a little bit about South. Is South a team that can make a little bit of a run in the region?
Yeah, they lost one of their better players, but still have several good ones. Simeon Dennis is proven to be one of the county's best scorers. He's a transfer from Central. He's a guy that can get it done. Logan Adams is one of the better players around. This team, as always, has a lot of talent. They haven't been able to break through and make the state tournament the last few years, but this might be the year to get it done. I think South makes the state tournament.
And let's finish up by talking a little bit about Decula.
Yeah, I like Decula. I think they're a great basketball team. They play very solid, very sound. Have a lot of players that can get it done. I think really it starts with Anthony Morse up front. He's been dominant at times on the front line, whether it's scoring, rebounding, or with his block shots. He's going to Tennessee Tech, and he's a big 6'7", 6'8" player who can impact a lot of games. And if he's on, then this team can do very well.
Well, our special thanks to Tommy Lee Carpets for bringing us that segment. And Will, you talked about that size that Shiloh has. Because of that size, that front line size, is that the team that you think in Gwinnett County on the boys' side can go the furthest in Class 5A?
I think it is. I think just because what they can get done on the inside, you know, obviously sometimes your shot's off in the postseason, but when you have 6'9" and 7 foot there rebounding inside, that's a lot to deal with. Robert Carter, maybe the best basketball player in the state, going to Georgia Tech. So when you're building around a front line like that, that's a pretty good base to build with.
And we talked about the three teams being kind of the three-horse race between Berkmar, Shiloh, and Archer. As you look at it and kind of handicap how that region title game might come out, which team do you think maybe is odd man out as far as being out of that title game?
I think right now maybe it's Berkmar, because Archer I think is a really hot basketball team. I don't think it's a team you want to mess with right now. They're really picking it up. Berkmar's maybe slipped just a hair here in the last week or two, and then but Archer's really come on strong. Really handed it to Berkmar the last time they played, and I think Archer's a team to be reckoned with.
Well, now that we have you caught up with the 5A teams, it's time to turn our attention to the ladies in Single A and Double A, and we start off with the Buford Lady Wolves.
Yeah, they're loaded once again, a lot of talent. Kayla Davis, you see her right there, she's a very good player, but they got Christina Nelson, a big transfer from GAC that also added a lot to this team. Andrea Carter's finally back playing from her knee injury. That was important to this team. They really lacked a leader and a ball handler, and she was the definite player that provides all of that for Buford, and she's also a very good defensive player. This may be an underrated part of her game, but very good player.
Well, in that same region, let's talk a little bit about GAC.
They're really playing well. I mean, they lost Christina Nelson, so a lot of people may have written them off, but really GAC's got a very good basketball team. Not a lot of depth, not a lot of girls on the roster, but the girls that they do have are very talented. I think Brianna Cummings is maybe an underrated part of this team. I mean, she's one of the county's best scorers. Not a girl that not a lot of people talk about, but she's an effective offensive player.
And then finally, let's talk a little bit about the juggernaut that is Wesleyan girls basketball.
Yeah, more or less saying they're going to be tested by St. Francis. Probably that's going to be the only team in the state in Class A that can test Wesleyan, but I think Wesleyan's clearly head and shoulders above the rest of the state of Georgia. They do like they always do, get after it defensively, play 10, 12 girls, and they're all equally talented. You don't lose a whole lot, and Coach Jan Azar does a great job over there.
Well, as you said it, Wesleyan is head and shoulders probably above all the other teams in their classification. Then you got Buford with Andrea Carter. With her being back, are the Wolves head and shoulders above everybody else in Double A?
I think they definitely have to be the favorite in Class AA now that Andrea is back. Without Andrea, not so much. It would have been definitely a battle for them to win state. But with her back in the lineup, with what she provides offensively and defensively, I think it clearly makes Buford the favorite in the girls.
And then talk a little bit about how you see GAC on the girls' side.
I think GAC, I mean, they played Buford close, and I think this is this is a team that can really play with anybody else in the state of Georgia. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another Buford versus GAC for the state championship. I think Buford's a little bit better, a little bit deeper, but when it comes down to it, you never know in a one-game situation.
Well, not to be outdone by the ladies, the boys' side has a couple of state title contenders in the lower classifications as well, and we start off with two-time defending state champion GAC Spartans.
Yeah, we all know Eddie Martin from his successes elsewhere, but he's done great since he's been at GAC, won a couple of state championships. He has a team this year, I think, that is going to have to surprise some people to win a state championship. They don't have Malcolm Brogdon, who did just about anything and everything for them, doing well as a freshman at the University of Virginia right now, but still some talent over there, very good team basketball that they're playing. Don't really have that go-to scorer, but definitely a good basketball team.
And then let's talk a little bit about Buford in that same classification.
Yeah, Buford's definitely a team that's got a lot of talent. TJ Shipes is going to Georgia State, one of the better big men in the state. And he's a guy that can get it done inside. Isaiah Williams has been scoring a lot for Buford and doing very well. They got a boost from AJ Davis, who transferred from GAC. So really a lot of talent up there, Buford. And
then finally, let's talk a little bit about the Wesleyan boys.
Yeah, they're very impressive. Always going to be well coached with Skip Matherly. They've done very well this season. If their three-point shots fall, and they can play with anybody in the state in Class A. It's the matter of getting that shot to fall. Shane Smith's a very athletic scorer. He's really shown what he can do this year. Copped the 1,000-point milestone for his career, and he's a go-to scorer, and I look for him to be big in the playoffs.
Will, if you had to make that choice, you see GAC and Buford both in Class AA, who is your guess on who might go farther in the state tournament?
I like what GAC's done. I think it's a team, those guys have been together a lot longer than these guys at Buford, really meshed together pretty well, and I think that matters. And it comes down to Coach Eddie Martin, too. He's got a lot of experience winning in the postseason. You know, he's going to play hard and get these guys going on the defensive end, so I think that's going to be important, and GAC is going to do better.
Well, time now for Will to channel his inner Dickie V as we get his predictions for the upcoming region tournaments. It's brought to you by Tommy Lee Carpets. We call it Beat the Post, and we'll give you a chance to do exactly that. Well, we'll start off with your predictions in the Region 7-5A girls tournament.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, being a two-team race. I think that's how it's going to shake out. It's going to be Norcross versus North Gwinnett, and I really like Norcross at this point because Lexi Brown's been out. She's still kind of going to be fighting to come back, and I think Diamond DeShields will lead them to another title.
And how do you see it on the Region 8-5A girls side? Is it all Parkview?
I think it's got to be Parkview all the way. Brookwood might make a run, but I think Parkview is definitely the team to beat.
And let's go over to the boys side and the Region 7-5A boys.
It's going to be interesting over there. I think it's going to be a battle between a lot of teams. I think when it's all said and done, North Gwinnett, I look for them to make a run and Chris Bolden to lead the way. And
finally, let's talk about the Region 8-5A tournament and your prediction on who will win that.
It's going to be interesting over there, too. I'm going to go with the hot team right now and say Archer. That's a team that's been playing great basketball to maybe shock Burtmore and shock Shiloh and win their first region title. Well, thank you to Tommy Lee Carpets for their continued support of Gwinnett Prep Rally. All right, we're out of time, but you can visit us online at GwinnettPrepRally.com for the world-famous message board and video highlights. And you can also keep up with GPR on Twitter and our Facebook fan page. Be sure to join us next week for more highlights and features on Gwinnett Prep Rally every Tuesday through Friday right here on GCPS TV. For Will Hammock and all of us here at GPR, I'm Todd Klein. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.